Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas. The Royale RP21 was designed in 1975 by acclaimed South African F1 designer Rory Byrne. The car was winning titles in South Africa into the 1990s and, at almost 20 years old, finished fourth in the world final of the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch, with Rick Morris at the wheel. The track is ready and the drivers are raring to go after their short break, and the action in the Marlboro Crane Hire Historic Saloons classes A to E is about to begin.
We have had a long break, and the car's good, and we're going to try and do our best today. I've got a bit of goosebumps, as I said, but we'll give it our best. The weather's cool, it's nice, it's good for the car, and a little bit dicey for the tyres. I'm sure the tyres are warm up quicker, but I'll let it warm up, and then I'll force the attack, I should say.
Helmet on, race face on, and the crowd are ready for the racing to start. Anton Raths and Neil Reinecker head up the grid in their Class C cars. Dion van Vuren qualified third on the grid in his Class E Escort. Gerard Henning and Jannie van Rooyen's old Sirocco sits fourth on the grid. Engines roaring and adrenaline pumping, the grid accelerate over the start line and into turn one. Reinecker and Raths side by side into BMW performance parts. Behind them, Dion van Vuren leads Pierre de Waal and Gerard Henning. The race is on and the field scramble for position as they make their way through the first few corners and begin to find a rhythm. Meredith Willis wastes no time. He keeps his foot flat and passes Sofos Pantasis coming out of Renexcon. Coming into Sassel and Dirk Venter in the blue and white Lindenberg Racing Escort edges ahead of the Ford Freight Escort of Dion van Vuren. Van Vuren fights back and takes the inside line as they make their way through Kenwood, but Venter manages to hold on to his position. Behind them, Gerard Henning is applying the pressure, and he gets past Van Vuren and starts hassling Venter as they head towards G&H Transport. The Capri leads the Sirocco down the straight, but the Sirocco isn't beaten yet. Gert Boytes and Brendan Parker shoot into our shot. Parker with his nose on the side of Boytes' Escort. Looking at Boytes' onboard, he follows Poulter through turn 8. The next thing, contact is made and he is sent sideways off the track with Brendan Parker's nose in his boot. Into turn 1, and Dirk Venter has his hands full with Martin Boyter in the Climax Racing Datsun 1200 applying the pressure. Heading into Renexcon, Boyter makes his move. He takes the inside line through the hairpin and passes Venter. Nearing the top of the hill, and Sofos Pantasis has also found a way past Venter. Here's a look down the inside of Boyter. Boyter manages to fend off the Datsun for now, and he leads Pantasis and Venter through turn 6. Meredith Willis is behind Venter and pushing hard, trying to make up ground. Venter approaches turn 8 a little hot and ends up oversteering and loses his momentum, which allows Meredith Willis to sail past. Martin Boyter, having a good run, approaches turn 2 and climbs the inside curb, loses the back and has to work frantically to correct. Looking at Boyter's moment from Pantasis' car, we can see exactly what happened, and no doubt this will allow Pantasis to gain some ground on Boyter. Powering up the hill to Sassel, and Anton Raths moves up alongside Neil Reinecker, nabs the inside line and moves into the lead of the race. Dirk Venter has managed to get ahead of Meredith Willis after his earlier indiscretion, but Willis is doing his utmost to keep Venter within reach. They power up the hill to turn 5. The Capri has the power advantage, but the Escort regains some ground into the corner. Pantasis has the pedal down in his Datsun as he powers past Dion van Vuren. Pantasis edges ahead of Van Vuren through turn 5, and Martin Boyter is right behind the pair. The pressure is on Van Vuren as Boyter is filling his mirrors, looking for a way past the Escort. Brendan Parker, not showing any ill effects from his incident with Boyter, runs wheel-to-wheel Steve Tritter through turn 5 and takes the position. Tritter tries to come back into turn 6 but isn't close enough. Boyter Buerta hasn't managed to find a way past Van Vuren yet, but he is keeping himself very busy. Coming out of turn 5, Buerta moves down the inside of Van Vuren. Side by side they race through turn 6. Buerta climbing the curb slightly, and Van Vuren runs wide, handing the position to Buerta. Coming into the final bend, Anton Raths leads Neil Reinicke, and the blue Mazda 3-3 will take the checkered flag and victory in race 1. Due to Raths and Reinicke running bigger engines than allowed, they're not eligible for points, but the competitors were happy to have them race. Maximum points go to Class D winner Pierre de Waal, with Gerard Henning coming home in 4th place. Dion van Vuren took Class E honours.
Just before turn 8, he pushed his nose again. I didn't see him because I thought he was at the back of me, and I had the race line and he nicked me. I went off on the gravel, and I thought I'll go on again. I can still get it, I have a chance, but my car started running like a crab, like a taxi, you know, like that. And then I just came in, and so the back axle moved, so I'll rather just put it on the hoist and see what's wrong before I try it again and fix the damage.
As normal, on turn 2, first lap, I lost about 5 positions, and all the nippy little cars came past, like Martin, one of them. I think I lost 3 places. And then when we started stringing out, I could get the power down. I started catching them up quite fast, but the main battle was me and Martin for about, 6 laps? 6 laps at least. It was touch and go, touch and go. I did a fantastic maneuver down there, which I frightened myself even.
Turn 8, yeah. He took a dive in the inside of us. Yeah, it was actually quite scary. But he pulled it off, you know, no mistakes. Nobody touched each other. It was amazing. I was impressed that he shot his car in there, because his car's not light to stop. It's difficult, it's heavy. But he pulled it off nicely and got past all of us, which was quite good. Then I got past you again, I think, yeah. And I had to drive like a bad person, you know. I had to drive the wrong lines to make Sofas do the long way around, which made it quite hard for him to get past me. And I think in turn 2 I made a mistake. I slid. I slid sideways. And then the big old horsepower kicked in and just flew past me. Then he was gone, you know. But it was a great race. We had good fun.
The grid is assembled and rolling down the straight. The lights go off and race 2 begins. Neil Reinicke gets the jump on Anton Raths and leads the field into turn 1. Pierre de Waal in 4th runs slightly wide in pursuit of Gerard Henning. The field stream into turn 2. Dirk Venter plows into the side of Dion van Vuren, and Venter ends up off the track trying to sort himself out. Watching the incident again, and it looks like Venter's rear brakes lock up, and this causes him to turn violently to the right, possibly problems with the brake bias or the tires. We saw him with a similar problem in race 1. Up into the tabletop, Alan Poulter, Martin Buerta and Meredith Willis jostle for position. Buerta runs down the inside and moves ahead of Poulter. Meredith Willis follows suit and takes the inside line into turn 6, passes Poulter and heads off in pursuit of Martin Buerta. Anton Raths leads Neil Reinicke into turn 2. Gerard Henning in his VW Sirocco is in hot pursuit, with Pierre de Waal right behind them. Meredith Willis leads Alan Poulter through BMW Performance Parts. Martin Buerta is doing his best to make up some ground on Dion van Vuren through turn 8, and onto the start-finish straight they go. Buerta wringing the most out of his Datsun. Sofos Pantazis leads the pair down the hill to turn 1. Dion van Vuren has his mirrors full of the red and white Datsun of Buerta, who is doing his best to close the gap to the Escort. At turn 5, Dirk Venter's racing alongside Alan Poulter, and the Capri moves ahead of the Volvo 122S. Venter having to work his way up the field after his turn 2 incident on lap 1. Despite his best efforts, Martin Buerta hasn't been able to catch up to Dion van Vuren, and the Focus Freight Escort leads the Climax Racing Datsun around the track. Coming through turn 8, and Anton Raths will find the checkered flag waiting for him, and he will take a double victory. Gerard Henning in his VW Sirocco has pushed Neil Reinecker hard and finishes just 0.5 of a second behind the Chev Can-Am. Racing up to the tabletop, and Martin Botha darts around the outside of Deon van Vuuren in a last attempt to pass the escort. Van Vuuren holds the inside line and stays ahead of Botha. Onto turn 6, and Botha tries to come back at Van Vuuren. Van Vuuren manages to defend his line and stay ahead of Botha as they race towards the finish line. Into turn 8, and Botha tries one last time, but he just can't get past Van Vuuren, who crosses the line just over 0.2 of a second ahead of Martin Botha. Confirmation of the results, and it was Anton Raats who took the win. Gerard Henning was the first of the Class D cars and scored maximum points. Deon van Vuuren held on to take Class E ahead of Martin Botha.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very, very nice. The cars are very, very fast here. Yeah, and we enjoyed it with the big guys. The car's awesome. Miani's old car. Great day. I was trying left, right, centre. They've got a horsepower in the straight, but I've got better corner speed than them, and I catch them under the brakes. But yes, they kept me behind.
I had a left front shock brake on the first lap, and I think it's because I went off this morning in turn 4. I went quite badly off, and I broke the shock. Then I just couldn't turn the corners. All the right-hand corners I couldn't turn, so I just stuck off a bit. I managed to get up with, and I still had fun anyway. Yeah, I had fun.
History in Motion is proudly brought to you by Midas Sport, Gumtree, Mitsubishi Electric and their associated sponsors. Join us next week for more great racing from Zwartkops. With action from the Mar cars. Some great side-by-side action in the Little Giants. Slips and slides in the Lotus Challenge. And more great racing in the Sports and GTs. Don't miss it.